more I think about it, the only way we get the chalice is through one of the, or through this.
The chalice?
Or the,
The bell?
yeah.
That's okay. She'll be close enough with her head mic.
Oh, yeah, it should be down there.
And
Just,
we miss it. We miss it half the time anyway. Oh, there's what's new.
Today is a good day for church in PJs.
Okay.
Man, New Year's Eve in PJs, New Year's Day in PJs, the day after in PJs.
Yesterday was pajama day.
Yeah, for real?
For real. Okay, we are on video, on live Facebook. I mean, YouTube.
All right.
About a 20-second delay, it looks like.
Okay.
Walter has developed signs, 5 minutes, 1 minute,
Okay.
30 seconds, whatever. I can't hear you. I, whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we
Welcome to First Unitarian Church of Toledo and our weekly Sunday service here in person and in the Toledo, in the sanctuary, and on our YouTube channel, Toledo Unitarians. If you are a visitor, we'd like you to fill out one of the yellow cards titled "For Our Information." These are in the pews in front of you, and we also have some literature in those pews that you can feel free to take any of these things home with you. Any of these you can take with you. We're still meeting in person on our YouTube channel, Toledo Unitarians. My name is Melissa Jeter, and I am the student minister affiliated with this congregation. Our COVID-19 task force is monitoring the numbers and guidance, knows that researchers are, and knows what the researchers are saying about the Omicron variant, which is more transmissible, but is apparently milder in its effect on people. So that's a good thing to think about. Researchers also say that Omicron could peak in January and start to fade. And the task force will meet this week to consider whether we'll continue as is or adjust our precautions. With all of that in mind, we ask that you spread out here and in coffee hour, that you mask in an N95 or KN95 models if you can. And we intend to order some to be available here for church functions. And that you don't take chances with the coronavirus. It seems to have the advantage even for those of us who are vaccinated.
I want to add an invitation for you to have social time after the service. Normally, we do call it coffee hour, but today, Carla Logan Mercer, our kitchen leader, is iced in, so we don't have coffee today, but that does not prohibit you from having social time, so that you can gather after the service. Also, I have a special thanks to give, generally to all of you, with special attention to the Caring Circle. Marcia Gamble has shared with Jewel and me some holiday cards, within which were contributions from the Caring Circle and from members of the congregation, all of them unnamed. You've been very generous in your appreciation of us, and we thank you for your care and friendship and for the gifts. Marcia, though she's no longer leader of Caring Circle, was the point of contact in giving these to us, along with delivering a Christmas meal from the Gambles. You all know that both Jewel and I are in the midst of health challenges. I'm in conversation with doctors now about a stem cell transplant to treat my multiple myeloma, and that could happen sometime this year. We don't know the proposed schedule yet. Even with our health, I hope you know that you can call on me for ministerial needs and for other things. If it's too much for me, I can say no or refer you to someone. I'm so grateful that all of you are so supportive during this time. With the state of the world and the state of my family's health being what they are, you're modeling a vibrant, inclusive spiritual community, what we see Unitarian Universalism at its best to be. Thank you, bless you, love you.
And now I have these opening words. We bid you welcome on this first Sunday of the new year. Like Janus, we gather with part of us looking backward and part of us looking forward. We gather on the edge of the new year, saddened by our losses, cherishing our joys, aware of our failures, mindful of days gone by. We gather on the cusp of this new year, eager to begin anew, hopeful for what lies ahead, promising to make changes, anticipating tomorrows and tomorrows. We invite you to join our celebration of life, knowing that life includes good and bad, endings and beginnings. We bid you welcome.
We also have a chalice lighting for the new year. For the new year, just 2 days old, beginning today, always beginning, we light our chalice, symbol of faith, perseverance, and hope, in astonished thanksgiving and irrepressible praise. For beginnings that emerge out of endings, appear amid continuity, become visible in hindsight, we light our chalice, symbol of faith, perseverance, and hope, in astonished thanksgiving and irrepressible praise. For all the times and all the ways we have begun anew together, we light our chalice, symbol of faith, perseverance, and hope, in astonished thanksgiving and irrepressible praise. And now please join me in reciting the covenant of this congregation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And now it's time for our opening hymn, which is a change from the order of service. Today is number 318, We Would Be One. We're making changes because our music director, who is also our social media coordinator, and her husband were exposed to the coronavirus. They have not been infected as far as we know, but they are observing the precautions and staying away today. So Mickey did send in recordings that we can use for our music today, and we're doing the best we can with that. Starting now with number 318, We Would Be One. We have Tom Sheehan, who is one of our tech crew members today, volunteering to come up and lead us. One finger. You might know the tune Finlandia. This is it. We would be one, as now we join in singing our gift of love. Of who we are and what in us is true. We would be Thank you very much, Tom. And I did notice that you did get beyond one finger playing. And now Melissa will share story time.
The Picture on the Kitchen Wall by Sophia, Lyon, Foss. This is a story for the Chinese New Year, which will happen on February 1st. But it's a New Year story. And we began the new year of our culture yesterday. So let me tell you this New Year story about the kitchen god. It's called The Picture on the Kitchen Wall. And Sophia, Lyon, Foss wrote this so we could learn about the tradition. Long, long ago, in the land of China, there lived a very old grandfather named Chang Kung, who had a very large family. First, there were Chang Kung's own sons. When his sons grew up, they all married, and their wives came to live in Chang Kung's house. Then grandchildren were born. When these grandsons grew up, they also married, and their wives were added to Chang Kung's family. Then came the great-grandchildren. So Chang Kung's family grew and grew until there were several hundred people in it, all living together. There were old people and young people, middle-sized people and children. Always there were a number of babies. Besides all this, Chang Kung's family was very fond of pet animals, especially dogs. It is said that at one time, 100 pet dogs belonged to the household. As Chang Hung's family grew larger and larger, his house had to grow bigger and bigger too, until it became a collection of houses standing side by side around a large open courtyard. A high stone wall stood like a fence around all the houses, and that made all the houses together seem like one big home. The larger his family grew, the happier old Chang Kung became. He liked to eat at one of the big long tables, and his big and little children beside him. He enjoyed sitting in the sunny courtyard where he could watch his great grandchildren play. But Chang Kung's family is not remembered after these many years simply because it was such a large family. Many people in China have large families. Chang Kung is still remembered because it is said the members of his family never quarreled. At least so the story goes. The children never quarreled in their play. The old people never quarreled with each other and never scolded the children. Nobody, big or little, ever said a cross word. Nobody ever did a mean thing. Some said jokingly that even the dogs did not quarrel or bite. When they were brought their bones, they would not even bark, but all would wag their tails and wait their turns. Stories about this remarkable household spread far and wide over the country, just as the breezes blow far and wide in the spring. Finally, news of Chang Kung's happy family reached the ears of the emperor. Now, it so happened that the emperor was about to make a journey to the Western Hills, to a place not far from the home of Chang Kung. So he decided to visit this wonderful household on his way back and to see for himself whether or not the rumors he had heard were true. What a sight it was the day the emperor arrived outside the village gate. First, the royal procession came, and the very tall guards dressed in blue and red, carrying long bows and arrows in their hands. Then came the mandarins, those important men in the emperor's court. Their long silk gowns were beautifully embroidered with figures of colored birds. Blue and green peacock feathers waved from their round hats. Other attendants followed, playing flutes and harps as the procession marched down the street. At last, the emperor himself, in his richly adorned sedan chair, carried on the shoulders of 4 men in red. When the emperor entered the gate of Chang Kung's home, the old man himself was there to bow many times and to greet his emperor with very polite words. "Very excellent and very aged sir," said the emperor. "It is said that inside your walls no cross words are ever spoken. Can this be true?" "Lord of 10,000 years," said Chang Kung, "you do my poor house far too much honor. It is true that my family does not quarrel, but it would please us greatly if you would consent to walk about our humble courts and judge for yourself." So the emperor made his way from one house to another and from one room to another. He talked with everyone he met. In the great hall of politeness, he was served delicious food and drink. As he sipped his tea from a dainty cup, he said to Chang Kung, "You must have a golden secret in order to keep so many people living together in such order and peace. I, too, should like to know your secret." Then old Chang Kung called his servants to bring a tablet of smooth bamboo. In those long ago days, there was no paper. All writing was done on wood or on stone. Chang Kung asked also for his brush and ink, and the ink stone with its little well of water. He took the brush in his hand and dipping it into the water and said, and then on the ink he wrote one word on the tablet. He wrote the word a second time and a third time. He wrote the word over and over until he had written it 100 times. Then, with a low bow, he placed the tablet in the hands of the emperor. "You have written many words," said the emperor, "but at the same time, you have written only one word." Aye, said Chang Kung. "But that one word is the golden secret. O Son of Heaven, it is kindness, over and over without any ending." Chang Kung nodded his gray head as he spoke. The emperor was so pleased with the golden secret that he too called for a bamboo tablet. Taking the brush that Chang Kung had used, the emperor wrote these words on his tablet: "Let all the families of China learn the golden secret of Chang Kung and his family." When the emperor finished writing, he said, "Let this tablet be fastened to the outside of the gate, where everyone passing may read it." Not many years after the emperor's visit, Chang Kung died. But the story of his happy household has never been forgotten. People asked the emperor to have pictures of the old man painted and sold so that families might hang his picture on the wall above their kitchen stoves to remind them to keep the golden secret that Chang Kung and his family had learned. That is why, after these many, many years, in thousands of homes in China, at the New Year season, a fresh, bright picture of Chang Kung is pasted on the wall behind the kitchen stove. Many Chinese will tell you it is a picture of a god, but you should know that Chang Kung was once just a very kind and good man who helped the members of his family to learn to live happily together without quarreling. Since so many people think that God is perhaps much like the very best person that they can imagine, such a good person as Chang Kung seems to them to be like God himself. To look at the picture of Chang Kung over the kitchen stove every morning helps to remind many thousands of people in China to speak kindly to one another. They feel as if Chang Kung were watching them and listening as they go about their work. They can sometimes imagine they hear him speak the golden word, kindness. Once a year, on the night before New Year's, the picture of Chang Kung is taken down and burned. As the flames and smoke go upward, the people think Chang Kung is flying back to heaven to tell the great God of all the people just how well everyone has behaved during the past year. 3 days later, they will paste new pictures of Chang Kung on the walls over the kitchen stoves, and they will say, He has now come back again to the earth to keep watch over us for another year.
Now we'll have centering music. This is titled "On the Day We Are Together Again."
On the day we are together again, on the day we are together again, I will pull you in close like a hoop with no end. On the day we are together again.
We will share the same table again. We will share the same table again. I'll pass you the salt, the candlelight will bend when we eat at the same table again. We will walk around the block hand in hand. We will walk around the block hand in hand. We will stop for a snack at the taco truck stand. We will walk around the block hand in hand. Someday we will go back to work. Someday we will go back to work. May we be among people who respect our worth. Someday we will go back to work.
I will help the strangers I meet. I will help the strangers I meet. It is possible to get back on our feet. I will help the strangers I meet.
I will write you a letter for now. I will write you a letter for now. Hope is a message that survives somehow. I will write you a letter for now. To the healers who keep us alive. To the healers who keep us alive. Oh, to your courage, knowledge, and light. To the healers who keep us alive. For the ones we love to adore. For the ones we love to adore. We remember the stories, we sing the songs. For the ones we love to adore.
On the day we are together again. On the day we are together again. I will pull you in close like a hoop with no end. On the day we are together again.
I miss our choir, and I do look forward to the day we are together again. Please join me for a time of meditation, contemplation, and prayer. This is As a New Year Begins by Kate Lohr. She wrote, "Great Spirit of life, as a new year begins, we turn inward to reflect about the state of our lives. What lessons have we learned in the past year, and which new ones now call us forward? To whom do we still owe an apology or expression of thanks? And with whom must we draw fresh boundaries? As we pause from our regular rhythms of rush, 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 we open ourselves to new perspectives and possibilities. We give thanks for these moments and for the wisdom they afford us. May they help bring us together in the sacred dynamics of life, so that we as individuals and as members of this community might reach our full potential. As we step across this threshold, let this new year be a year of greater awe and gratitude, of deeper kindness and acceptance, and more courageous acts of conviction. For a kinder, more equitable, and sustainable world is not only possible, she is on her way. And in the quietness of this sacred community, we can ever hear her breathing. Amen. Let's observe 1 minute of silence, which will be followed by our reflection hymn, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Bruce, hold me close.
me, come to me. I have this reading by Neil Gaiman. I hope that in this year to come, you make mistakes. Because if you are making mistakes, then you are making new things, trying new things, learning, living, pushing yourself, changing your world. You're doing things you've never done before. And more importantly, you're doing something.
It's one of the standard greetings. What's new? At the beginning of January, we have the opportunity to see and share what's new or recent. I did say share, and I call on you, if you're willing, to let us know what's new in your life. I tell you at the start of this talk, so you can think about it some, and as I'm sharing, then in a few minutes, you might be ready to tell us what's new for you. Melissa Jeter, our student minister who is serving as Sunday Associate today, will circulate through the sanctuary congregation. And if it's working, and we think it is, we have a handheld microphone you can use, and she'll be cleaning it after each use. If it's being temperamental, as you might remember these mics sometimes are, she'll relay your words as we need the use of a microphone for our Toledo Unitarians YouTubers. And for you on YouTube, please share your what's news in the chat. We'll try to get those comments to the rest of us. So, what's new? Let me give some big picture things on health, government, and religion to start. Then we'll hear from you in the sanctuary and online. First, the pandemic. No, it isn't new, but there's a newness. Here's an excerpt from the lead page A1 story in the New Year's Eve Washington Post. Crazy Omicron surge could peak soon, but the virus is unpredictable as the pandemic enters its third year, by Joel Achenbach. He wrote, "This has always been an unpredictable virus, going back to when it first appeared 2 years ago on December 31st, 2019. The virus had probably been spreading for a month or more, but that was the day infectious disease experts around the world began hearing by email and text about an outbreak of a mysterious pathogen causing pneumonia-like respiratory infections in Wuhan, China. No one on that day," he continued, "could have known that this pathogen, initially called the novel coronavirus and later named SARS-CoV-2, would trigger the most brutal pandemic in a century. And no one today knows when it will be over. Forecasts of how the pandemic will play out have repeatedly been incorrect, to the point that some modelers have stopped trying to make caseload projections 4 weeks out, instead limiting their forecasts to 1 week ahead. Because beyond a week, who knows?" That ends the quotation from Achenbach. We now have Omicron rushing through the population. It's said to be not as devastating as the Delta variation and other variations, at least to vaccinated people, but it's more transmissible, and many folks apparently have breakthrough infections there, as well as others still getting the Delta variant, the earlier forms, and so on. Plus, it's new that Governor Mike DeWine has now ordered a total of, I think, 2,500 National Guard troops to help at understaffed hospitals, including some in Toledo. I read that he's not assigning any more medical specific troops, as that could take them away from their regular health employment and cause other problems. Seems a good time to focus on your precautions and avoid circumstances that would put you in a hospital so the caregivers can handle the overload better. Second, what's new in government? Our current president has been in office almost a year. And this week we come up on the first anniversary of the conservatives rioting at the Capitol. It's not new that President Biden is still trying to get the social infrastructure legislation passed, with a need for every Democrat in the Senate to vote yes, while 2 Democratic senators seem not to see the big picture over possible special interests, and thus threaten the bill's passage without changed provisions. What's new here is that it seems final effort time has been reached, and some version of the bill should be up for vote soon. And in government, there's access to abortion. The Supreme Court is hearing and considering very restrictive state laws recently enacted that severely limit, effectively outright outlawing, but the language edges around that, abortion, and would cause clinics to close. We've seen the hypocrisy of office holders like Governor Greg Abbott of Texas saying one week that we can't have government interfere with a person's right to choose what to do with their bodies when it involves being able legally to be unmasked during a pandemic. And then saying government must not let women choose what to do with their bodies if they find they're pregnant and for whatever reason choose not to be pregnant and have an abortion. Access to abortion is needed. Our Unitarian Universalist history is on the side of choice. And while we here are friendly with Planned Parenthood, which provides care for women, but in our area does not provide abortions, and Capital Care Clinic, the only licensed facility in Northwest Ohio that provides abortion services, I wish we had closer relationships. So if you're interested in volunteering at Planned Parenthood or Capital Care or in other efforts to keep abortion safe and legal, I ask you to please let your Toledo Unitarians connection be known. And now to what's new in religion, specifically what's new for Unitarian Universalism. Our denomination's annual General Assembly, to be both online and in person in Portland, Oregon, and if you go, please connect with our former member Louise Banky, will take place June 22nd through 26th. It could be an involved one for the Article 2 Study Commission. As described on the Unitarian Universalist Association website, Article 2 of the Unitarian Universalist Association bylaws, principles, and purposes is the foundation for all of the work of our UUA and its member congregations and covenanted communities. It is the covenant to which all of our congregations and covenanted communities pledge themselves when they become members of the UUA. This will be the year before the Article 2 Study Commission proposes changes in the article, which could include completely rewritten statements of principles, purposes, and sources, and could include an eighth principle that has been proposed under Sandra Kozak-Sills' leadership here. It has been discussed in our congregation. The eighth principle under consideration states, but could be reworded or otherwise provided for if the Article 2 Study Commission chooses. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. So the new here is possibly intense preparatory work. The next year's General Assembly in 2023 should include a vote on a revised Article 2, as well as electing a new UUA president. That General Assembly will be in Pittsburgh, close enough for more Toledo Unitarians to attend. I'll also tease one what's new for our congregation. As we get past the Omicron surge, I'm planning, along with Commissioned Lay Minister David Strickler and Student Minister Melissa Jeter, to form a type of small group ministry to include as many of the congregation as possible, for a way for us to get back together and into the presence of this congregation. It's kind of like Chalice circles, but with larger groups, and largely inspired by the salon movement of the 1990s, advanced by the magazine Utne Reader. We'll share more details as we develop them, but look at this as an opportunity for us to be in manageable sized groups, get reacquainted, and renew our Unitarian Universalist connections. If you'd like to help with some of the advanced work we're doing, be in contact with me. Those are the big what's new items I'm bringing. Your what's new could be more personal, from new children or grandchildren or their or your accomplishments, to social, material, or attitudinal changes in your own life, to even New Year's resolutions. And I always try to remind people at this time, resolutions don't have to start with a new year. If they're broken, they can be restarted anytime, and you don't have to wait until the next new year. And if they don't seem to work out, they can be set aside. Resolutions are really you're trying to treat yourself better, aren't they? So see that the best is the key. With Melissa ready to gather your information, once we get a microphone, I ask you, what's new? You who will be speaking in the congregation, I need to tell you that the cameras are behind you. So if you want to be on camera, turn around and face the back. And please tell everyone your name if you're willing.
Okay. All right.
So do we have volunteers to tell us what's new here?
What's new?
And you on YouTube, please be typing in the chat for your what's new now.
think that those are the cameras, right?
Yes, those are the cameras.
Actually, sometimes what's new is old.
Mhm.
Mhm. And I guess I need to make a recommitment to my practice of every day that I wake up. I thank the universe for another day.
Mhm.
I'm in my early 80s, and I never, it's like, what the heck is being in your early 80s about? It's about getting old. Old, not just old, but old, old.
Wise?
So I'm making a commitment to continuing that practice of when I wake up every morning and I'm opening my eyes, I say, thanks for another day. Thank you.
Yes,
So
thank you.
what's new is old.
What's
There you
new
go.
is old.
Come on, everybody, come on.
Who's next? What's new?
We are renovating a home out in Maumee and hope to move in during this year if we can get it finished. And on a less happy note, my husband has been sick for about 3 weeks. And I think because of the holidays and the emphasis on COVID, which he doesn't have a diagnosis. So we're just hoping that figure out what's wrong and get better soon.
Blessings to you. What's new?
Would anyone who's watching on YouTube like to comment in the chat on what's new? We have no entries yet. Well, thank you all for sharing. How was what's new for a New Year's service? I hope it helps us to look forward, not back, and that we have the optimism to find good ahead of us. In this time of health-forced separation and even isolation at times, it's hard to keep up. What's new is a question we might continue to ask one another when we can be in conversation. Be well, be safe, be your best, so be it.
Thank you for joining us for our service today. And I want to say that your generosity matters in this congregation. We are grateful for those who send in their pledges, and for those who are here today, we have options for you to donate to First Unitarian Church of Toledo. There are baskets in the front. There are baskets in the back, in the outside of the sanctuary. For people who are online, you are also able to donate at uutoledo.org at Give. So you can do online giving. You click on Donate. You can also send your donations through mail or drop it by the church here at 3205 Glendale Avenue. Our zip code is 43614, and that's First Unitarian Church of Toledo.
And we have baskets up front here and at the welcome table in the lobby if you want to leave your offering here in a basket today. Coming soon, next week's Spiritual Adventures Forum at 9:45 a.m. on Zoom is on the Chautauqua Institution with people who have attended. Carol Kierlever, Marcia and Jarvis Gamble, and Judy and Dave Murray. Then our 11 a.m. service is titled Worldly Rituals And it's about our own practice of rituals, kind of outside of the regular church spiritual type of rituals.
So after today's service, if you want to socialize, to get together and socially distant and talk with each other, you can do that. Usually we call it coffee hour, but our volunteer chairperson is not here to be able to serve coffee to people today. So for our closing words in this new year by Aaron Stockwell. In this new year, let us be amazed. Let us search for new life and hope in our midst. Let us nurture creativity in every form. Let us be reminded that new insights of the universe are always being made. In this new year, let us be amazed.
As we send the flame of our chalice into the community and the world, may it safely spark more new, that 2022 not become, as a Facebook meme states, 2022. Let's do our part to help make this new year a new way of being in the world and a good one.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go. As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. As our love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go, as you go.